Like I leave here, like I get on the train at 7:30 and I don't get home till like 6:15 earliest. I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like I don't have energy to work out. Like that's out the window. Like I'm so upset. Oh my God. How do you have friends? How do you have time for like dating? Like I don't have time for anything and I'm like so stressed out.
Don't you think that we are designed for different things, especially in terms of profession and career and lifestyle and family? Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Shift with Gina. We are here in my studio that's going to look different soon. So for those of you who are just listening to the audio, this doesn't really apply to you, but we're going to do a little makeover on the studio because we made the studio probably was like over a year ago, I think, something like that. And we're going to give it a little bit of an upgrade. But for now, we are in the old studio. And before we get into it, there are a couple of viral videos I want to get into today that are related to the topics of marriage, motherhood, family. And before we get into all that, this is a big reminder for all the ladies out there who are looking for an online community of women who are interested in health and wellness and fitness. Click the link in the description to join The Shift, which is an online community hosted on Mighty Network. So you don't need a Facebook page for it. I know that's a big question a lot of people have. We do weekly workouts together. We do nutrition challenges together. We're starting a brand new challenge on Monday called the Morning Routine Challenge. So we're going to structure a whole morning routine that fits you and your schedule. And that's going to be for 4 weeks, the 4-week challenge. And we always have new stuff coming up in there. I do exclusive interviews in there with certain experts. I do a lot of exclusive content in there on motherhood, family, things like that. So if you want to join, click the link in the description to get started. Okay, so the first video we're going to watch is, I don't know her name. I don't even know her handle, but this video went massively viral on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. And people were bashing this girl because she gets on, she's a recent college graduate and she works in New York City and she explains why her life is not what she thought it was going to be. So let's just watch this and then I'll give some of my thoughts on it. Here we go.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9-to-5 job after college, and I'm in person and I'm commuting in the city and it takes me forever to get there. There's no way I'm going to be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like, duh! If I was able to walk to work and it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, like I leave here, like I get on the train at 7:30 and I don't get home till like 6:15 earliest, and then like I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like I don't have energy to work out. Like that's out the window. Like I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9-to-5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9-to-5, like if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But like I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and like people that drive to the office, like you don't get off at 5. And I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but like I literally get off, it's pitch black. Like I don't have energy. How do you have friends? Like how do you have time to like meet like a guy? I don't know. Like how do you have time for like dating? Like I don't have time for anything, and I'm like so stressed out. And I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But like, am I so dramatic? It's fine.
Everyone attacked this girl. Libs of TikTok, who shares a lot of videos similar to this, she said, recent college grad has breakdown over working a job. We're doomed. And a lot of people commented and shared the video and said that she was a spoiled brat. And a lot of men especially were like, welcome to a man's world where you got to work all day. Oh, it doesn't feel so great, does it? And it turned into this huge thing where people were bashing her for what she said. I had a totally different perspective, especially from a woman's perspective. But first, I want to read you a tweet from a guy named Noah Ravoy. He is a relationship coach, and he also had a different take on this video. And the way that he responded to this TikTok, articulated a lot of things that I was feeling. So I'm going to read this to you and then we can get into it. Noah wrote, "Most men don't understand what she's saying. You will see them in the comments bragging about how hard they work and how soft she is. Years of covert feminist propaganda have subtly programmed most men, causing them to offer man-style solutions for issues that are exclusively female. Well, I have to remind you that you're a man and she's a woman. What works for us can make them miserable. We are different. Office 9-to-5 jobs are soul-destroying for most women, especially young women, because they know deep down inside their beings that they should be home nursing a baby or two. Away from home work is against their nature and her body knows it, which is why she feels so bad. Her body is screaming for her to find a man, marry, and have babies. She almost said it outright in the video. I always encourage my female clients to cut back to 25 or 30 hours a week and spend the extra time on self-care and finding a husband." I mean, we could end the whole podcast there. It's such a succinct, articulate way to address this issue, because if you look at the comments under this video, it's mostly men who are like, "Suck it up, buttercup. Welcome to life. You got to work hard." And just like Noah says, men, even men who claim to hate feminism and men on the right who claim to be conservatives, they too have been subtly programmed by the feminist propaganda, which teaches us, whether you're a man or a woman, it teaches all of us that men and women have the same exact role. We're the same. We are equal. We are designed to do the same things. We are completely interchangeable. So a lot of these men who claim to hate feminism are the very ones who are in a way perpetuating this false idea that men and women are designed to do the same exact thing. And it's ironic, isn't it? Because these are the same guys who complain about feminism and how much it has taken over society, but they themselves have fallen prey to the feminist propaganda. Because just like Noah says, men and women are totally different. We are different in every single way, down to the thickness of our skin, the size of our heart, the size of our brain, our fast twitch muscles, obviously our reproductive organs, even down to the fact that women's colons are 10 centimeters longer than men's because we have more reproductive organs down there. We are made to retain water in our abdominal area. Why? For childbirth, for pregnancy, all of these things. So if you think that we are so different biologically and physiologically, don't you think that we are designed for different things, especially in terms of profession and career and lifestyle and family? This girl, okay, yeah, she's a little bit, like, I can understand she's a little bit hysterical and emotional in this video, and that might be a turnoff to some people because she's crying and she seems like she's having a little bit of a meltdown. But she is expressing something that many, many, many people, especially young women, feel about the 9-to-5 grind. It is exhausting. I'm sure there are even a lot of men out there who don't like it. Industrialization has really changed our society. Before industrialization, people were happier and they were healthier. You're talking about the agricultural life, life on the farm and working the fields wasn't exactly easy, but it was better than being in factories and then eventually the office job for the vast majority of the day, being stuck inside, and then eventually, this urbanization of the world and then having to commute to jobs. Like, even a lot of men are tired of this lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with pointing that out. And especially in today's economy, so many people, I have heard from so many followers lately who talk about how they earn more money today than they did 5 years ago. And they are struggling way more today financially than they were 5 years ago. They're struggling to put food on the table, struggling to pay their mortgage, they're struggling to, if they don't already own a house, they can't buy a house because they're just not in a place to, even though they make more money than they ever have before. So the 9-to-5 grind and the way that our modern society is set up, it is exhausting. But I'm going to tell you why it's particularly exhausting for women and why this girl here has pointed out a lot of things that reveal the inherent intricate differences between men and women. So number one, it's important to understand women's natural hormone cycle. Compared to men's natural hormone cycle, men have a 24-hour hormone cycle every single day. Their testosterone rises and falls at exactly the same time. So every single 24 hours, men are hormonally the same. This is a big deal. This is not some arbitrary, trivial characteristic of men. That's a big deal. To be the same exact person hormonally every single day, that is very different than a woman's hormonal cycle. Women function on more or less a 28-day hormone cycle. Now, it could be anywhere between, 27 to 32 days. It kind of fluctuates depending on the woman. Some women have 31 days, some women have 27 or 28 days, whatever it is. But generally, it's a 28-day cycle. So every day of the month, a woman has a different hormonal cycle. She has something different happening in her body every day of those 28 days. Sometimes she has higher estrogen and she's really ready to work. She feels like she wants to take on bigger projects. She feels like she has more energy. Maybe she feels like she really wants to go to the gym and lift heavy. And then there are some days where she has higher progesterone. She's in a really good mood. She sleeps a lot better. And then there are some days where the hormones are a little bit different. And she might be in a little bit of pain. She might be tired, more fatigued. Maybe she's a little bit less interested in social events. This is all normal because the 28-day hormonal cycle is totally different than the way that men function. So this is one of the biggest reasons why men are just simply more easily adapted to a 9-to-5 work schedule than women are, because the 9-to-5 work schedule actually fits a lot better into the testosterone rises and falls in men every single day. By the time the men are finishing up the workday, the testosterone is slowly starting to drop a little bit. Maybe it's kind of the part of the day where they want to just sort of hang out, go to happy hour. They don't really feel like taking on big projects and getting into massive problem solving. The 9-to-5 can be very soul destroying for women because it kind of goes against our biological makeup. And this young lady here, she's a graduate from college recently. She actually made a follow-up video to this because Business Insider took her video, wrote an article about her, and actually tried to dox her and find out and tell everyone where she works. And she made a follow-up video and explained that she has no issue with her employer. She likes her job. She said she's really, really grateful that her employer gave her a job out of college and helped her learn the industry. She's in marketing. It feels like everyone's in marketing these days, fresh out of college. But she said she sent out almost 1,000 applications and only one of them got back to her and offered her a job. And that was the job she has now. She has to live in New Jersey because she can't afford to live in New York City, which is where her office is. And she explained that she has been, over the past years in college, because of the pandemic and the lockdowns, she has never known what it's like to go somewhere every single day and go to work or go to class. Most of her life has been remote. So then you throw that into the equation. This girl has not had a normal life because our government has shut down the whole country for years, the better part of 2 or 3 years. Life was not normal for students. And then you expect a young girl like this to just be thrown suddenly into the 9-to-5 grind? And you think she's just going to adapt quickly like that with no complaints? Like, we have to, if we want to combat feminism, we have to really understand why men and women are not interchangeable. And we have to understand that it applies especially to career and our professional lives and the way that we want to approach our career and our work life. Women biologically don't want to do this. I'm sorry, women do not want to get up every single morning at like 5 and they have to work out in the morning really fast and then they get on the train, they got to commute for 2 hours. She also explained in the other video that most nights she actually gets home at like 7:30. It takes her 2 hours to commute, sometimes more if the trains are messed up. That's miserable. That's totally miserable. And she said in the video, she said, how am I supposed to date? How am I supposed to find a boyfriend? You could tell she's like upset about the fact that having a family and getting married is not in her cards anytime soon because she doesn't have time. Because she's grinding away, trying to make a life for herself. And yeah, you should, a lot of guys are like, well, if you want to have a family, don't put your career first. Okay, but we live in the real world where like, what is she going to do? She not going to have a job? Is she just going to like stay at home and live with her parents? I mean, I guess that is an option, but I'm assuming that her parents don't live somewhere where it's just rampant with eligible bachelors. A lot of women, they go into the workforce because that's one of the ways they can live in a city or live in a place where they can meet their prospective husband. And it's, a lot of these women, deep down inside, I think they do. She even kind of admitted it. They want to get married and they want to have children. It's just that this 9-to-5 grind is the only thing that they can do to really make money right now, which is why one of the things I've seen a lot of people encourage young women to do to make money and sort of fill in the gap between being in school and finding a husband is becoming a nanny. Nannying can be a really stable job that has more flexible hours. It also allows you to sharpen your skills around children, to learn more about parenting and family life, and to spend some time around, married couples and see how they run the house. And you can learn a lot from that. And it's less stressful than having to commute to the office 2 hours every single day and work in the 9-to-5 grind. But when I watch this video, it makes me sad because I know what it's like to work that 9-to-5 grind, and it sucks. I mean, my last sort of like 9-to-5 grind was in San Francisco, and I didn't have to commute that far. My office was only a 20-minute walk from my apartment. And there were definitely some days where, did not want to go in, and it sucked to just have to even walk those 20 to 25 minutes. But I got up at 5 every morning and I went to the gym. I used to go to Equinox. I went to the gym at 5:30 or 6. I would work out. I would shower at the gym. I'd get in the steam room and then I would shower, and then I would be at the office sometimes at 7 or 7:30, really early in the morning. I would start my day. I would get off between 4 and 5, depending on when I got to the office. And then it's, walking back to the apartment, and then it's the social life. And it was really tiring. I quit. There were a lot of other reasons why I quit, because the company I was at, I didn't really like it. And it was one of those stupid women's digital media companies that just published a lot of false information for women. But one of the big reasons I quit is because I did not like the 9-to-5 grind. It did not suit me. It was very, very tiring. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. And I was really happy whenever I quit my job and I started coaching fitness full time. At first, I was definitely like making less money, but I was way happier. I had more flexibility with my schedule. On the days that I wanted to get up early and start off my day at an early time, I was able to do it. On the days that I wanted to take it a little bit slower, I could. And that's actually what's best for women's health, for women's hormones, is understanding your hormonal cycle and working with your body instead of going against it. And I think this is a big, I would call it a pink pill for a lot of women, is really understanding that trying to live life like a man and trying to fit into the masculine world, it really actually ruins your physical health. And there are a lot of women who are in the 9-to-5 grind who have irregular menstrual cycles. They have some sort of endometriosis or PCOS. They have high stress, insulin resistance. They can't really sleep well at night. It's because their hormones are all out of whack. And stress affects women's hormones differently than it does to men. I'm explaining to you why. There's a really important hormone in women's bodies that occurs naturally. It's called progesterone. Progesterone is known as the key mood and sleep stabilizer. It's the hormone that rises in the body right after ovulation, which is why ovulation is very important. Even if you don't want to have children, it's important to still ovulate for the production of progesterone and many other reasons. And that production of progesterone helps you improve your mood, helps you sleep better. It's also really important for your thyroid, and it's really important for maintaining pregnancy. And even if you don't plan on getting pregnant anytime soon, it's important to have a healthy production of progesterone. But here's the thing about progesterone is that cortisol, the stress hormone in the body, in women, it's derived from progesterone. However, in men, the stress hormone cortisol, it's not derived from their testosterone. So even if men are really, really stressed out, it doesn't deplete their testosterone. Meanwhile, if a woman is extremely stressed out and she has a lot of cortisol pumping through her body, she's depleting her progesterone. And that can lead to irregular menstrual cycles, It can lead to a lot of hormonal issues, can lead to poor sleep, insomnia, mental health issues, depression, anxiety. All of these things can come from low progesterone. And the more stressed you are, the more cortisol that is coursing through your body, the less progesterone your body is going to have. Again, there is no equivalent to this in men. Cortisol, the overproduction of cortisol is going to affect men in some way. A lot of stress in the body causes inflammation. It can increase the risk for chronic disease, but it does not deplete testosterone and men's sexual and reproductive hormones. Do you see how important that is? That is such a pink pill for women. Now, having said all that, nobody is saying that women should never ever work and women should sit at home on a lily pad and put their feet up because they're just too precious to work. Nobody is saying that. Women have worked since the dawn of time. So I know that it almost sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but listen to what I'm saying here. Women have always worked, but they have always done it in the context of the home. Women have always created goods to sell for profit. They have been midwives. They have gathered food for their family. They, of course, have taken care of the household. Remember, before washing machines and dishwashers and sanitation and running water and all of that was present in humans' lives, women had to do a lot of this. They had to make clothes. They had to sew clothes. They had to do a lot of farm work and work on the land in order to gather crops. And they had to help the men clean the animals and clean the meat and make the meat edible for the family. It was a lot of work. So women always worked. But again, it was always in the context of the home. It's not like the women were leaving the house to go hunt. And then even later on down the line, it's not like women were leaving the house to, go to the factory. Women were, well, at some point women were going to the factory, but very early on, women had all of their work done in the context of the home. And that's the difference between men and women. I'm not saying that women should be lazy and not work. In fact, if you are a wife and a mother, and if you have multiple children, there's a lot of work to do at home. And even if you have you don't have children yet, even if you're just married, or maybe you just have one child, there's still work to do at home. And women just do better if they can work part-time from home. You see what I mean? So it's not that I'm not saying that women should never do anything else but raise children, because that's also the sort of overcorrection that we're seeing from the right and the red pill manosphere, is that women only belong in the kitchen and they only belong in the house and they should never leave and never have any other hobbies or interests. No, women have always had hobbies and interests and they've always worked, but again, in the context of the home. So I've seen a lot of women who have improved their health and become much happier after they, yes, stayed home and had kids, but also started to work from home part-time. And maybe they were part-time entrepreneurs. Maybe they sold goods for profit on even things like Etsy, or if they were like an artist or something, or if they assisted their husband with his business or their family's business from home. And then the priority, their biggest priority, where most of their time goes, is to taking care of the home and taking care of the children. And this young lady here, she would probably be a lot happier if she did that instead of putting in the grind for that 9-to-5 job over and over again every single day. So just because women have a different hormonal cycle does not make them lazy. It doesn't mean that they should never work, but it just means that we have to think about things a little bit differently than men think about things. Now, again, it's a really tough time because women who go to school or they graduate from high school or they're in their early 20s, like they have to work to make it by. You know, not everyone is able to just live at home with their parents until they get married. That's not really a realistic solution for a lot of people, especially in the West. Like Western American culture actually looks down on people who live with their parents until they get married. I don't know exactly why. It's very, very common in many other cultures, but the truth of the matter is in the US, it's just not very common. So it's not feasible for a lot of girls to just not work. Most young women have to work. It's just a matter of finding the balance to where you're not overexerting yourself and you're not fully immersing yourself in this very sort of masculine 9-to-5 grind. And you're still making space and making time to take care of yourself and put the priority on finding a husband. And I know maybe not every single person wants to get married and have kids, but that's what most of us are designed to do. I know it's not something people want to hear, but most people are designed to get married and have kids. It's just it's a duty for most of us. So that's what women really should be prioritizing early. I'm not saying that you should rush into marriage at a young age, but you should always have it as a priority. You should build your life around whatever your primary goal is. And I don't think it's a good idea for your primary goal to be, chasing the corporate ladder, the soul-sucking corporate ladder. It's soul-sucking enough for some men, let alone for women who have a very, very different hormonal makeup. So I wish this girl well. I think that sometimes outrage content is so popular now, and sometimes the easiest way to get clicks and views and followers is to take videos like this and just bash them, just find a random video and put it online and have everyone make fun of them. It's easy to do that. But I think a lot of times the result of that is a lack of thought. I think there are a lot of thoughtful conversations we can have about this topic that are not being had because people are just more interested in sharing the videos and getting the comments and just bashing on them because it's fun that way and it gets a lot of clicks. But I think there's more to it than meets the eye. That's all I got for today. I was going to show a different video. I'll share it next time. There's poor girl. She realizes that she's a little bit too masculine and men don't really like girls who are not feminine. So we'll talk about that and how the masculinization, is that a word? Masculinization of women. I think it's a word. But we'll talk about that next time. Thanks, guys, for listening. Don't forget to share the episode. Share it with somebody that you think would like it. Click the link in the description to join the shift. And bye. See you next time.